Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Welcome to MBA Unfiltered. My name is Akash Shinde. In this video, we are going to have a candid conversation with Parth Gupta, who has done with his IIT ISM Dhanbad, and we'll ask him regarding his into experience when it comes to IIT ISM. Parth, welcome back to our channel. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
So Parth, let us know about your profile, 10th, 12th, UG, WorkX, and what's the motto of doing an MBA for you?
Yeah. So my 10th is around 89%, then 12th goes to 87%. And in UG, I did Bachelor's of Commerce with a specialization in finance. And the marks that I scored were around 67%. And regarding the work experience, I don't have any. I have freelancing experience, fresher right now. And why do I want to do MBA? Is basically the MBA, I think, is the path that gives my goals to that direction. So I don't think it's the final step, but it helps you to go to your goals. And at the same time, why I choose MBA is because I think it gives me not for the degree, but it gives me the particular set of skills and the peer group that everyone talks about. So yeah, these are the two main things that I decided to do MBA for.
Okay. Why you wanted to apply for IIT ISM, as there's a notion in the market that you should do an MBA for management institute as compared to IITs, and which are kind of a lower tier 2 or tier 3 IITs. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. So since I belong to a BCom background, so that is commerce background, I do not belong to an engineering background. A lot of peers in my group offered me that you should not go to IIT Dhanbad, and you should not go to any IITs for that matter. Since you belong to commerce, you will be more good in other IIMs and then other private colleges, but not to IITs. But I talked to some of my alumni and some of the alumni from IIT Dhanbad. Then I talked to some of the peers of my group. They advised me to go for it, to sit for the interview at least. And it's not about the final conversion, whether you convert it or not. You should give all the interviews. So I thought, okay. And when I went to give the IIT Dhanbad interview, so at the same time, it was not something that I had decided in mind. But then when you look at why IIT Dhanbad specifically, so IIT is definitely a tag name that you go for. And other than that, the tag name obviously helps you in the long term. But other than that, if you look at the fees of the IITs, so that is, I think it's around 4 lakh for 2 years. So a fee factor is a very huge role, plays a very huge role for doing an MBA. Most of the MBA colleges charge around 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs. This is the minimum requirement. But IITs, if you get into, since they are government colleges, so they charge a lot less. And then there is obviously facility for the loan factor, that you can take loan from bank for IITs and IIMs. So this was what I thought for IIT, basically because of the loan factor. I know that it's a tier 2 college, but at the same time, the IIT tag name will help in the long run. It's not just any college, it's IIT, so it's a brand name.
Yes, I do agree with you. As you said, if you're looking for a B school, ROI matters a lot. Since you are spending that money,
Yeah.
what amount of return that you're gonna get from that B school plays a very important role in your life and in your career. So, Parth, let us move to the interview experience of IIT ISM. Tell us, how was the interview? Was it an offline or online interview? How many panelists were there? What kind of question that were asked to you by these interviewers?
Yeah. So when I went for the IIT Dhanbad interview, it was in Delhi, and I was really scared at that time because again, as a non-engineer fresher, I thought my chances of getting a call were nil, but then I actually got the call, and at the same time, I met there. I connected with the peers, and this is what I would advise to the ones who are going for the interview, that please connect with your persons. You might not know them, but at the same time, they are also coming for the interview, so they are also a different version of you. So when you know them and you talk to them, your tension is reduced, the pressure that you're feeling is reduced. And we were taken to a room where we were given chocolates and some snacks to go with. After that, when the interview was offline, and at the same time there were two panelists, but then there were four rooms in which several students were there, and they were allowed being one after the other for the interview. from what I heard from the friends that went before me, that the panelists were really, really strict and the interview was definitely not worth, and they will basically grill you if you are a non-engineer, and even if you are an engineer, they will ask you chemistry questions, they will ask you physics questions. The interview won't be easy. So the pressure already built inside of me, and I thought my interview was gonna go down, but then I went inside and then I told them about my freelancing experience, about my graduation, and why IIT being a non-engineer. This was the question, and this is the question I think that a lot of students should prepare who are not belonging to the engineering field. That why are you choosing IIT despite being a non-engineer, despite being, since you're a commerce student. So why are you choosing IIT? Other than that, I went there. There were several questions that were asked to me. I think that was one of the longest interviews out of all the interviews that I gave. And the panelists were strict, but at the same time, the questions that I was expecting, the interviews that I was expecting, that I was going to be grilled a lot, that was not at all there. They asked me questions related to marketing, and IIT's interviews are more case study based. So they asked me case studies, and then they asked me marketing case study, sales case study, which is not something that I expected they would ask. Although it went well, but at the same time, case studies I would recommend for those of the ones who are going to IIT. Since you are belonging to a non-engineering background, then the panelists, there is a very high chance that they must belong to the engineering background. So there is, less possibility that they will ask you questions related to commerce, accounts. They might ask you what is a cash book, cash flow, and everything, but at the same time, they will give you real life case studies, marketing case study, finance case studies, real life examples to test you, to know that can you be fit for the MBA or are you not fit for it. So that was something that I would recommend the students. And then they asked me questions related to, so there was this question that I remember just now, that sell me this pen. And that was like the most basic question, but at the same time, when you're giving an interview, so you get confused. And then they asked me, what ink would you use, where would you sell this pen, how many distributors would you sell this to, what is the lowest cost there. So the real life examples were based a lot in the interview. And yeah, overall the interview went well, but I think I got grilled a little, but at the same time, it was not that, you are flunking out of the interview. The interview was nice, and but it was although the longest interviews I have taken. So yeah.
Okay, that's quite impressive. So, Parth, could you shed some light regarding the case study that is given to you and how you approach towards case?
Yeah. So when I went to the interview, they asked me general questions. What did you do in your graduation? What is your favorite subject? Then they saw my graduation percentage and the marks that I've scored. So they themselves asked that which is your best subject? And we will ask you questions related to that. So since I had freelancing experience, I said marketing. Since I had freelancing experience in marketing, so I said marketing, and these are the clients that I've worked with. Then they got to understand my nature, and then they gave me a case study that suppose you are the brand manager of a FMCG company, or maybe just a company, you are a manager there and you want to sell pens. Now there are 100 pens and this is the optimum cost. Where would you sell these pens? How would you do the marketing? And what is the lowest cost of marketing campaign that you would prefer? So when I said digital marketing is something I prefer, they were not really interested in that. They said that we know Instagram and Facebook and everything. Tell me, what is the physical cost of marketing? Where will you sell this? How will you get the distributors? Which location would you prefer? And basically all the things that comes under the case study, all the things that come under the real world life example. Where would you set up this place? How would you set up? And would you set up a shop? Would you set up a mall for the same? And again, keeping in mind that these are just 100 pence that you are selling. So everything went, some of the things went out of my mind, but everything was just unexpected. Like I didn't expect this interview to go in such a way, but at the same time they were also explaining ki, they were helping. It's not ki they were grilling me, they were helping. So let's say I got confused there, and I said I don't know the meaning of the same, since I belong to a non-engineering background. And then they asked me, how will you cope up with the engineers there, since a lot of engineers come? And what do you think you will get out of this? And so, yeah, this was a marketing case study that was given to me, where there were 100 pens. Would you sell the ink, or would you, let's say, how many distributors would you get? Where would you get the distributors, retailers, wholesalers, vendors? Everything they asked was related to that whole case study that lasted around 20 to 25 minutes. And it was the one of the worst case study, I would say, that I had prepared for. So actually, I had not prepared for it, but at the same time, it was not what I had expected. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it happens that whenever you are going for an interview, some impromptu questions will definitely be asked to you. So you need to use your critical thinking and you need to use your presence of mind in that situation just to make it big. So, so Parth, next question from my side. Let us know about the behavioral as well as leadership style question that we asked you during the interview.
Yeah. So as you said, some impromptu questions will be expected. And this was the one question that was there, which was absolutely unexpected from my side. But at the same time, they tested all my critical ability skills and all my leadership skills in the same set of questions. So that was something I got to know for the first time, that when you're giving an interview, from only the one question, you can have the all these skills tests. So they tested my math skills. They asked me questions on percentages. Then they asked me questions on your leadership skills. That, let's say, you are not the manager of the company, but the CEO of the company. So how would your position change? Then what would be leadership skills that you would be dealing with? How will you form the teams? How will you manage the teams? And as I told them that I had freelancing experience working with clients from multiple industries, they asked me that how many clients have you worked with, what are the verticals with the clients that you have worked with, and again, if you manage a team, how would you manage the team, what are the mistakes you made while managing the team, what was the cost that you charged to the clients, how much money did you make? They wanted to know everything regarding me. So at the starting, I thought that this was just an introduction they were asking, but in the towards the end, when I gave my whole interview and I analyzed what they had asked me, they tested me on my critical ability, on my mathematical skills, on my DILR skills. Also, they asked me a case let based on the pens set that I was just telling about. And that was not a difficult caselet to be solved. I do not remember it just now. But at the same time, if you use your brain, they wanted to check that whether you were fit for the MBA from IIT or not, whether you had those ability, those leadership skills, those managerial skills that will actually set you apart from the rest of the world. So yeah, that was something interesting.
Okay, you have shared a lot of nuances. So, Parth, what's your last piece of advice to the people who are appearing for next year when it comes to IIT ISM? And what what is your suggestion to these people that these are the things that they should prepare and these are the things that they should definitely keep in mind before going to the interview?
So I think a lot of people suggest that when you score a 95 percentile plus, or let's say even a 99 percentile plus, you don't go for the lower colleges interview, you don't go for the tier two colleges, tier three colleges interview. I do think that tier three colleges are not worth it personally, like speaking my mind, but you should definitely go for all the interview calls that you get. It should not be there in your mind that you do not go for any interview calls. I was sitting next to a guy who had actually scored 99 percentile in the interview in the CAT exam, and he had scored a bit less in the DILR section, and that's why he wasn't able to clear the cutoff for IIMs. But at the same time, he went to the IIT Dhanbad interview, and his interview did not go well, unfortunately. But he went there. So that is something I would suggest, that go for all the interview, irrespective of what percentile is score, irrespective of what calls you get. At the same time, start preparing for interview at least 2 to 3 months before, and read a lot, like whatever articles that you get. If you're interested in finance, so read a lot about that. If you're interested in marketing, go for certification, go for case studies, as I mentioned. And then you should read newspapers almost every day without skipping, because that is something they would ask you. They did ask me a lot of current information. They asked me, what is the latest financial news you got? what is the latest, since your background is marketing, tell me something related to marketing in the news in India that's happening, globally that's happening. You should be very good with these news events. And at the same time, if you're going for IIT's interview, so you should be good with mathematical skills because they will test you in that. You should be good with percentages, you should be good with tables, you should be good with calculating the things that they say. So that is the, these are some points that I would like to mention specifically. Those who are going for IIT interview, they will test your ability, analytical skills, and your mind. They won't go much for leadership skills. They won't go for the accounts background, but they will test you on the basis of what you did. So make sure you introduce yourself in such a way that the interview goes your way, not the other side. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Far, for connecting with us and sharing the nuances. I hope this center will definitely reach to the masses and it will help the upcoming aspirants who are looking for IIT ISM in the upcoming years. Thank you so much again for connecting with us and sharing the nuances.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much for inviting me.